to Deep Thoughts, Shallow Plots. My name is Erika, and I like to watch horror movies.
My name is Katie, and I like to overanalyze things.
Katie, what are we overanalyzing today?
Today, we are following up Frankenstein with none other than his very bride. It's just Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
1935.
Yeah. Well, because, the first movie isn't The Frankenstein.
No, that'd
it's
be
just
silly.
Frankenstein. Yeah. So this is, of course, Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And so second sequel we're covering this year.
Oh, yeah, we are sequeling up.
Yeah, I love this for us. So this is sort of a sequel, but really more of like just a direct continuation.
They could have just been one movie.
Yeah, really could have, because these movies are very short.
Yeah, I think you could have edited these two into a single.
I think, honestly,
very easily.
This is actually what I was just thinking about, is that for a modern audience, yes.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Because, I just want to,
yeah.
I do want to acknowledge off the top, this movie is 90 years old.
Huh.
91 almost.
Huh.
Yeah. So there's, for what...
That kind of hurts to think about.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Yeah. It's mind-boggling. So since it's so old, really, I don't think movie studios thought that audiences would be down to sit through that long of a movie, and probably making that long of a movie would just be really expensive.
I did
probably
see,
just don't
because I was
have.
looking at some of the posters.
Yeah.
One of their taglines was something about all of the fear or whatever.
Yes.
2 hours of whatever.
Whoa.
That's what they said. I specifically saw the 2 hours and I was like, doubt.
No. I wonder if they showed other stuff, little cartoon, spooky cartoons
Well, I also
or
know
something.
that they had to cut, just like with the first one, they had to cut a lot of things out.
Yeah, but at its longest runtime, it was only 90 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which, okay.
And then they
that's
cut...
still an hour and a half. Rounding up, that's 2 hours.
Sure. And again, maybe, it's the 30s, so a cartoon or something, a short before the movie. Sure. Yeah.
The whole event being about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Previews.
But we get, what's really weird to me is the way this movie starts, where we, establish that everything that happened in the first film was fiction.
Fiction, yeah.
Yeah.
This movie isn't real, don't worry. Which, we knew that it wasn't, 'cause it's a movie. But also, in the world of the movie, it's just a story.
It's very meta.
Yeah. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. Very meta. So we actually see
The Mary Shelley herself.
a recreation of the circumstances in which she wrote
Sort of.
her original story. I'm going to let you take it away.
I do appreciate, because we complained about, in our last episode, about how it's said that it's, based on the novel by Mrs. Percy
Shelley, whatever. Yeah, they do correct it.
And not only that, but they say it's suggested by the original story by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, and I really like the suggested.
Oh, yeah, because they do kind of run away with it.
They really do.
And I actually have a thought about that later.
Because the bride is suggested in the novel and never actually happens.
Yeah.
So,
Or is in the novel, yes, because I remember there is a suggestion of a bride.
The creature wants Frankenstein to make him a wife.
Was there not some steps taken to create one, and then it gets
and then Victor's
aborted.
I can't.
Yeah, it never actually gets reanimated.
Yeah. And then his best friend gets killed.
Yeah,
it's great. It's just lots of fun. And then he goes to court. There's a whole trial in Ireland,
and then he ends up in the Arctic.
Yeah, in the very end.
For some reason,
chasing after the creature.
The creature is just roaming around the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
Is impervious to cold? I don't know. Anyway.
Certainly more withstanding, yeah.
Yeah, so, but we get a recreation.
Yeah, well, technically, it's taking place after she already wrote, or at least they seem to be implying that she's just sort of telling the story, or maybe she wrote it. But then she's like, but actually, there's more to the story. Here it comes. So it's not really when she was writing it.
And
which is the only reason I accept the Dr. Polidori and Claire Claremont erasure, because they were also there.
Right. Yes, because it was a group.
Yes.
I thought it was 4 people. It was 5.
Yes.
All told?
Well, technically it was, so Mary and her husband, Percy, as I like to refer to him, her husband.
Well, you guys are close.
Yeah. they actually, when they, ran away to go be together, because they couldn't legally be together.
Oh. Why was
on
that?
account of Percy was still married.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah. They also ran off with Mary's, one of her step siblings, whose actual first name was Jane, but she went by Claire Claremont.
Oh.
Which is a fun name.
It's a fun name.
Claire Claremont. And so the three of them were traveling together, and they went to Geneva.
Right. Yes.
This was like 1816.
To meet up with
Lord Byron, because Lord Byron and Claire Claremont were in a relationship.
Yeah.
Claire was seeing him and recently had become pregnant by him.
Oh, God.
No big deal. Of note, Percy was also, before this and after this, in a bit of a relationship with Claire Claremont as well, and may have had a child with her. Maybe.
Who's
It's
to
debated.
say? Yeah.
It's debated.
Yeah.
But, they go to Geneva and meet up with him.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with The Year Without Summer, 1816?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell the listeners.
Yeah. So, like, basically, a little bit before this time, there were actually quite a few little volcanic eruptions, and then there was this big volcanic eruption at Mount Tambora.
In Indonesia, and but it was such a significant eruption
that it basically caused, like, a global-wide volcanic winter. Yeah. So that's why that summer is called, like, A Year Without Summer, because, like, the global temperature dropped significantly. And, like, especially in Europe, which was already suffering because of, like, the aftermath of the Napoleonic Wars had just been going on.
That's true. It is right after that.
And then here comes a lack of sun because of all this volcanic ash and stuff in the air and the colder weather, and suddenly they're not getting any of their crops. So there's just, like, this huge, like, famine.
It literally has global impacts.
Yeah, this huge famine in Europe.
And was it really only for 1 year? Because I wouldn't have been surprised if it lasted for more than a year.
I'm not sure. I think the effects were just the most significant that summer.
Right.
When they were all like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Where's our summer?
Where's
so
the
that's
sun?
like but there were definitely, because then they ended up being like famine, like riots in Europe.
I would imagine.
Which was like the first, like they hadn't had that much like uprising violence since like the French Revolution. Like they were like big uprisings because of famine.
Yeah.
Like in the following years. So like it definitely, whether or not the volcanic ash was still affecting the weather, like the crops hadn't really recovered yet.
Yeah.
And it was just like cold and here comes Byron renting the Via Diodati in Switzerland, in Geneva, with his doctor, John Polidori. Expecting like a super chill, fun Swiss vacation with their hot couple friends.
Yeah.
And Claire Claremont, and then it was just like cold and moody. And like, I think they were tending to spend a lot more time outdoors and have those nice sultry summer evenings and stuff. And like they did spend some time outside, obviously, and going into the mountains and stuff inspired them in various different ways. But like they had to spend a lot of time indoors, especially in the evenings. And they spend that time telling each other a lot of like folk tales and like ghost stories. They had a lot of like Germanic ghost stories that they were sharing, and just like other macabre, dark things, and also discussed philosophy because men just wanted to do that, and natural philosophy.
I can only imagine how incredibly insufferable those conversations must have been.
Or fascinating, depending on your view.
I find Lord Byron insufferable. So
that's, I feel like Lord Byron has a really bad rap.
Yep.
And it's hard for me when I personally find Percy Shelley insufferable. And I'm like, Lord Byron was fine. Lord Byron, just a silly little bisexual king.
Yeah. Bicon for sure. Yeah.
Chronic pain. Poor thing. That's why he was traveling with his doctor. Definitely a bit of a womanizer, but believed in good causes.
Sure.
And I actually kind of like his poetry.
Nice.
I find Percy's insufferable.
Insufferable.
And we can, we'll talk more about them. I don't know. I'm a bit of a Lord Byron apologist. I'll admit it. I am not a Percy Shelley apologist. I'm sorry, Mary. I know you did a lot to make people love your husband after he died, but it didn't work for you. Anyway, awful Lord Byron.
Yeah.
Who, Carolyn Lamb did famously refer to him as mad, bad, and dangerous to know.
Cool.
Which is awesome.
That's a great, yeah.
I would love for somebody to call me mad, bad, and dangerous.
Mad as in crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like dangerous to know.
Dangerous
Oh
to
my God.
know. Dangerous to be associated with.
Yes.
Woof. Yep.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was the one who was
Sounds
like,
pretty fucking punk rock to me, actually.
he was the one who was like, we should all write our, like, sorry, going back, I should put a little caveat on my Lord Byron apology stuff, because like there are some suggestions of inappropriate relationships with people underage.
Yeah.
And I just remembered that.
Yeah.
I just remembered, like, oh wait,
It's
some of those boys were like maybe young and maybe they had some.
Yeah.
I don't know about that part.
Was Lord Byron British?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was often with people from like other like nation, other countries that he was visiting, because he didn't spend a lot of time in England.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that our understanding of like age appropriate relationships is
I mean, because that's the other thing. Mary and Percy
really new.
had a 5-year difference, which isn't like horrible until you consider the fact that they met when she was 15 and he was 20.
No,
So
that's not okay.
But
now,
anyway, back to their chill, sexy summer that ended up being hot and miserable.
Was there
cold and miserable.
I mean, were there even age of consent laws?
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah. So they're having their cold, miserable summer.
Yes. Yeah.
And Lord Byron's like, what if we all wrote our own ghost stories? But of course, Byron and Percy, the two people who were like famous, renowned writers, were like, we'll get to it. And didn't get to it. And meanwhile,
they didn't do their assignment.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mary wrote Frankenstein. Originally, she just had an idea for a short story for this thing. And then Percy was like, actually, wait, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Keep writing it. I will give Percy credit for that.
He was
a shitty husband in many ways, but he did support his wife's writing, which many people would not have, in that
That's
time,
that actually sounds really surprising.
So, and he loved her writing. So she did that, and then John Polidori, the doctor, wrote The Vampire, which we discuss in our Dracula episode.
That's right.
So, and Claire Claremont
Also a
was
Universal monster.
There. And I don't think it was ever suggested that Claire Claremont would be a part of this writing. And I don't know why.
The Claire Claremont erasure.
The Claire Claremont erasure.
It continues.
I don't know. It was just like, well, she's just there to be one of Lord Byron's hangers-on, one of his groupies or something. And also sleep with Percy and also be Mary's stepsister. So I guess they were like, whatever, she's just there for these different reasons, not to be a smart scientific writer.
Right.
But anyway, the conceit then of this film, I guess, is that then some time has passed. And now Byron and Shelley and
they're chilling again.
Yeah.
They enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. And she's like, what if there was more to the tale?
Because,
beautiful eyes.
Again, wait, Shelley, also British.
Yeah, they're all British.
Everybody's British.
Everybody's British.
Because again, the same thing happens in this movie that happened in the first one, which is obviously everything that's happening is like everything's Germanic.
Yeah, it's all Germanic.
But everybody is speaking.
Yeah, they're all in Switzerland. They're all in Geneva or wherever they're supposed to be in.
Yes.
I don't know if they're.
And yet everybody is speaking with like a faintly British accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like the first one, unclear what time period it's taking place
Right.
in. I mean, obviously the flashback to Mary Shelley looks fairly period appropriate. Yeah. Like 1820s-ish, But then the actual story that's taking place, like the main characters are kind of wearing what would have been modern in the 1935 gear clothes. And then all the villagers look like they're sort of in the past, and like there's sort of a telephone, but he doesn't call it a telephone. He calls it something else weird. Did you catch that part?
No.
He has some sort of Henry, I think, has some sort of electronic device that he can use to contact his wife.
Oh, that's right.
But he doesn't say it's he's just like, this weird contraption I have. And then there's like no cars. They're like going around in like carriages and stuff. It's like, what time are we taking place in? Nobody knows.
Is happening. Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. Honestly, I like that about it.
My favorite part is that Mary Shelley, the actress Elsa Lanchester, who's playing Mary Shelley.
Wonderful job.
Great job.
Big,
I also
eyes.
love that she is portrayed doing needlepoint.
Yes.
Just such a neat feminine activity.
So feminine. Yep. My favorite line from her
dainty.
that I wrote down was, an audience needs something stronger than a pretty little love story. So why shouldn't I write of monsters? Like, ooh, get it, Mary.
Yeah.
We don't want love stories. We want monsters.
Yeah.
But then she writes a monster love story. So
Yeah.
it's literally called Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about?
I will say more about Mary Shelley later.
more to
but for
come,
now,
yeah.
that's just sort of like the circumstances that they're drawing on for the beginning of this film. The little
Yeah, and so
intro.
this Frankenstein in 1931 was not made with a sequel in mind.
No.
But I'll get into that later.
Ooh.
The really fast popularity of the Universal monster movies, the studio kind of ended up begging for one, and eventually, 4 years later, make Bride. And so in order to make the story work, we have to do a little bit of what we would now call retconning.
Yeah. Yeah.
90 years ago,
Though, I mean, like the retconning.
I don't know what they would have called it.
Because the retconning that happens, one of the big ones is obviously that you can't have the monster dead.
Yeah.
He has to come back.
Yeah.
But that doesn't feel like a retcon when it comes to horror movies. Of course the main monster doesn't die at the end of the first one.
Right, or seems to be defeated, but is not actually.
Like, of course he's not actually dead.
Sort of like the psycho killer in a slasher.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so that
true.
Doesn't feel like too much of a yeah. Of course he survived this big burning thing.
The creature actually surviving. Okay, I'm fine to that one's fine. But Hank actually being alive.
Okay, see, this is where I was sort of confused because my impression at the end of the first one was that he was alive.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. I know that they say that he's like dead, but then a second later, then they bring his body home and then suddenly, and we see him in the bed with his wife and then the door shuts and it's like he's recovering. They just don't explicitly say he's recovering.
Those might be later versions.
Yeah, because
after
that's why
the sequel came out.
But that's why his father is like a son to the house
of Frankenstein.
because his son's fine and then he's going to get married and they're going to have kids.
They're going to have a son, yeah.
And he's happy and he's celebrating.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't feel that was a retcon either.
Okay, I love that. Okay, well then maybe there is no retconning because the other thing is, yes, we do. It's not a retcon. It is a correction. An appropriate correction to which you already mentioned, to reference the source material as written by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, and they included the Wollstonecraft. So I was like, that's actually that's point. So that's not retconning, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of retconning that is not retconning is just a recasting. The actress who plays Elizabeth. Or rather, Elizabeth, the character herself, is like crazy hot now.
Yeah, she
gets a makeover like overnight.
Like the first film is all about like her virginal wedding night. She's so like soft and precious and
passive
and just what a perfect bride. And then this one is like she's got her saucy nightgown on. And she's got her hair down.
Yes,
like
she's like wearing dark lipstick.
Yeah. She's like not representing pure European womanhood anymore. She's saucy and sexy and brunette.
Yeah. So we do get a lot of our characters back. And then, of course, it being a sequel, we get to meet like new characters.
Yes.
And so to me, the standout new character in the sequel is Minnie.
Oh, Minnie.
We love Minnie. Wait, hold on. I wrote
seems
her
to be
name
there
down.
for like
Una O'Connor. That's her name.
Comedic effect?
Yes. So this is what, to me, what makes this movie so great and why I actually, in many ways, prefer this one to the original is that they do really turn up the camp.
Yeah.
The camp gets turned up and Minnie is part of that.
And you liked that.
I did love that, yeah.
I felt like it cut the tension and the meaning of the film a little bit, personally, for me.
Fair. Very fair.
I felt like Minnie was in a different movie, or that this movie was just way too different from the first one.
Yeah.
Because she was like commenting on things in a way that was like, get a load of this.
I know, right?
And I'm like, okay.
Kind of funny. But what I like about Minnie specifically is that throughout the film, many people, almost always men, tell her to be quiet or shut up.
Oh, my favorite one specifically
Yeah.
is when she's maybe a little bit loud.
Yeah.
When I think it's when they're still at the beginning, when they think the creature's dead.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's starting to realize that he isn't. But she's like a little bit loud, and the burgomaster doesn't just tell her to be quiet, but says that they don't want a riot.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, because one woman is
Gonna
raising
cause a
her
riot.
voice
Minnie,
a little
who
bit?
who is in this
They'll
movie.
use any excuse to call something a riot. My God.
In this movie, obviously an older woman
Yes,
too. And like,
yes.
you really think she's going to start a riot? But I love that she's like constantly being told to be quiet and to shut up, and she will not.
She just
and I
won't.
love that for her.
Yeah.
And she also, another reason why I wanted to shout out Minnie is she gets the iconic line. To me, from the first movie, the iconic line is "It's alive."
Right, yeah.
And she's the one who gets to say that in this movie.
Oh, that it's still alive.
She's- yeah. And so I'm like, you go, Minnie. You are an icon.
Yeah.
And I totally know what you're saying, because how are we not meant to laugh at her oversized reactions?
Yeah, it's
to
just
the
all
creature.
seems comedic.
It's
I was
definitely
like, is
comedic.
this still a horror movie?
Right.
It doesn't feel like one to me. Doesn't feel like a monster movie at all, me.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit.
And maybe it was
Little
just
bit weird.
jarring because we watched it right after the first one.
We did. We double billed it. Yeah. It is a lot different.
Oh, there is, I guess, that part of why it felt retconny. I forgot about this.
Mm-hmm.
That Henry is dead is because it's like he's there and he's dead, and then we see him at home for a second, and then we're kind of go back in time for the next one, and we're back at the thing where he's dead, and then he gets taken home where he's like still thought of as dead, and then they're like, oh wait, never mind, he's reviving, he's alive.
He's alive.
Yeah. It seems like he's dead for a second, and then
I
he's
see.
fine, and then we see them in the bedroom. So it's like they do kind of like fill in the gap a little bit in
Uh-huh,
a
yeah.
weird way.
Yeah.
That makes it almost more confusing instead of less. But Henry is alive, and that's
Yep.
great for him because then he can cause more problems for his family.
Oh my gosh. So this is where this is not new at all. Like many people have had this reading of this movie for a long time. But this is like where the queerness comes in.
Yeah.
Cause like, you know, the other like main, well, I wouldn't call Dr. Frankenstein, Hank Frank. I wouldn't call him a villain.
No, this, just like the first one,
Yeah.
this movie works maybe even harder to make him not at all a villain.
Yeah.
Like, they take all of the responsibility away from him.
Yeah. What do you call, so he's not is he our protagonist?
I mean, his name's in the title.
It's true. That is a big hint.
I don't know. Maybe it's an ensemble.
Is he an anti-hero? No.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just some guy.
He's just a
He's
guy
just Hank.
who has very little responsibility and agency in this
And
film.
therefore is not very interesting. At least in the first one, he had his little God complex stuff. He doesn't even really have that much anymore.
Yeah,
he
'cause
has like one line about it where he talks about how he made a man and then goes again about like, he says something about how he could have trained him to my will and I could have bred a race. He does that thing again.
Right.
But he doesn't go as hard with the self-deification as he does in the first
No,
one.
not like Dr. Pretorius does
Really
that.
takes on all of that.
Really takes on all
Just
of
like
that.
in the first film, they had not Igor, whatever that
Fritz.
Yeah, they had Fritz take on all of the like bad parentness.
That's true. Oh yeah, the parenting of it all.
Yeah,
Yes.
they like take it all away from Henry.
Yeah.
so that he can just be a good, upstanding guy who got a little too hyper focused and made a creature.
well, who gets like, I mean, we could use the word groomed. Like gets like groomed and like influenced by this other guy.
Well, and still he won't do it until his wife is kidnapped and threatened.
because Dr. Pretorius
like he's
puts that into motion.
Blackmailed's not the right word. Coerced.
Coerced, yeah.
He's coerced.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it until he's fully coerced.
Yeah.
And they make it clear that he doesn't know that the body that they're using was like murdered for this purpose.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Like
Yeah.
he doesn't even know about that part.
Pretorius probably took care of all that.
Yeah, he did.
So what's interesting to me, is that he's like super helpless. He kind of seems to have like a come to Jesus moment after, the events at the end of the first one. And he does seem to calm down a lot. Elizabeth's super hot now, and he does seem like, you're right, like I need to put that behind me and just focus on this
they're a little
relationship and our
more-
marriage. And then it's And then that's just like what he's content on doing. Again, kind of just like letting the creature just continuing to just abandon the creature.
Yeah. Well,
Still,
I guess it's unclear at what point he learns that it's still alive.
That's
sure.
true.
I can't remember.
That's true. He might be operating under the assumption that it is has
and it
died.
still is that thing where like when he tries to talk about it, his wife is always like, no.
Oh, don't think of such things. You're not allowed. Yes. Yeah.
And then even when he is brought back into like Dr. Pretorius's orbit, the other thing that I feel like is meant to sort of valorize him is he specifically says that like what Dr. Pretorius is doing isn't science. It's, quote, black magic.
Yep. Because Dr. Pretorius is doing some weird shit.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really want to talk about him.
And we're gonna. But I just feel like, yeah, that they're very clearly separating everything that Henry is doing from like the evil misdeeds of this film. And, you know, like, sure, he created the creature, but like everything after that was and not his fault.
No, definitely not.
He's a good man.
And
he deserves to live.
And you know that because he does live. He survives. Yeah. Which, isn't an accident because, you know, we're pretty kind of in the full swing of the Hays Code by 1935. Yeah. So,
his creation tells him that him and Elizabeth deserve to live.
Exactly. Yes. So, like, so they're good. They're in the clear. Yeah. They're going to just go live happily ever after.
Novel creature would never.
Yeah. Oh, no. That creature? No way. Yeah.
Though that is one of my favorite parts of the novel is when the creature finds out that Victor Frankenstein has died. And it's like this weird kind of grief. Wonderful part of the novel.
Yeah.
Anyway. I guess that's the other thing I miss in this film that I feel like the first film has. Is that it doesn't have the same emotional depth to me.
Really?
Like, it doesn't have the same...
I feel like we get so much more emotional depth from the creature.
The creature specifically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's kind of who I want to see in this movie. Yeah. And the bride, which, of course, 3 minutes.
3
minutes. Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like all sort of silliness. And then the creature has some good moments. But even he's played a little broad for my taste.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's no scene in this one for me that hits as hard as the dad walking with his murdered daughter.
That one does hit hard.
Through the, like, celebrating town. And slowly realize what's going on. Like, fuck, that hits hard.
Yeah. No,
and, like,
you don't get that in this one.
I weirdly had more sympathy for the creature in the first one. I know a lot of people talk about having sympathy for the creature in this one more. But, like, just the way that the creature in the first one is never trying to do anything bad and it just keeps happening. Like, he's never even really trying. And that continues to happen in this one. Like, he doesn't mean to cause destruction. They continue to apply that it's in his nature, I guess. You know?
Or he's honestly, like, trying to help but is like being perceived because of what he looks like that whatever he's doing, it must be deviant and causing destruction
and we do get more interiority with him, which I guess is nice. Like, we get him looking at his reflection and like clearly being upset about it, which is, you know, there are good moments of pathos. I didn't dislike this movie. I just don't get why everybody's so hyped about it, I guess. I was like, it's fine. I guess because I tend to come to movies like script first and story first.
Right, yeah.
And so, like, I understand the acting in this is amazing and, like, the production is amazing. The special effects are, like, so wild.
Oh, my gosh.
Wild.
Yeah.
But, like, story-wise, I was kind of like, well, the best part was the part you took from the novel.
Yeah.
And everything else was kind of
Yeah.
for me, personally.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the creature and the parts of him and, like, his emotional journey.
Yeah, because, I mean, in the first act, he's, like, really going through it.
He really is.
He's having a go of it. Because he does end up surviving the mill fire.
Yeah.
And he gets captured by the villagers and, like, actually seemed pretty incapacitated.
Yeah, they really got him.
Somehow he busted out. I don't know.
He also somehow then, there's that Frau Newman.
Yeah.
The Newmans are, like, killed, and they say something about it, like, they don't let us see the state that Frau Newman is left in her bedroom. I'm like, when did he even have time to go into any of these buildings when he was, like, running away, let alone, like, kill people?
Yeah.
I'm very confused by that part. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, let me see the receipts. Just for the creature. Are we sure somebody else didn't take the opportunity to murder these people?
I was going to say, did Herr Newman take this opportunity to murder his wife?
I think he might have been dead too, though. But somebody else maybe.
Murder-suicide, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, let my creature go.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong.
Right, because, it really is the continuation of the theme of, like, being treated violently and then like being further ostracized and outcast when he responds to that violence with violence.
Yeah, it is.
But to me, like in true sequel fashion, we do see his character develop.
Yeah.
He makes a friend, the hermit. That's my favorite part of the movie.
I mean, it's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
He plays his little song.
It's one of my favorite parts of the book too.
Yeah, though there's a whole family that he's watching for a while. It's a little bit creepier, honestly, in my book, but...
In the novel?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how he picks up French, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's my ultimate favorite part of the novels, like, because the creature is incredibly eloquent.
Yeah. Eloquent.
Eloquent.
You're saying
elegant and eloquent.
You're doing the RuPaul.
Yeah.
Eloquence.
Eloquence. Is very well spoken.
Yeah, no, he totally is.
And speaks multiple languages.
Yeah.
And like knows scripture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's read Paradise Lost.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Because he gets taught by this blind man. And I do like that their first interaction, because you know in the first film there's this kind of running thing of, I always want to say Victor, of Henry Frankenstein telling the monster to sit down. As like kind of part of his training, like almost like he's treating him as a dog. Kind of, like sit down, sit down. You know, it happens a few times. And in this one, like one of the first things the blind man says, I don't know if the blind man has a name.
No, he's just called the hermit.
The hermit?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the first things he says is for the monster to come sit down.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, but in this case, it's an invitation.
It's an invitation,
like
not a command.
A command. And then the next time the creature does see Henry, one of the first things he says to him is sit down. That's like an intimidation thing. And it's just like, I like that through line. That is good.
Yeah. Clever. What I actually noticed, again, this isn't an original thought, but there's also some kind of like Christ-like stuff for the creature.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a weird reverse Bizarro Christ that he's like resurrected and then kind of crucified or...
Yeah, he dies and then he's crucified.
Yeah.
Because he is hung up like that.
Yeah.
It's there. I mean, he is supposed to be an affront to God because he is a creation without the creative hands of God.
Life without the... Yeah.
And so does he have a soul?
The divine.
What was the thing about... Was it golems? They get a soul from God when they get the...
Yeah, you get like... The idea is that like your first breath is like the breath of life when you receive your soul.
Right.
So yeah, so like the earliest use of the word golem was to like reference Adam, the first man, before he receives his soul.
Right.
So he's just like this creation, you know.
Yeah. And wasn't that how then the golems later were like animated? Like sure the people created them, but then God is what like actually does, like they can't be animated without God's power. Is that what you said?
No, they like use like Hebrew words and like letters because that's like the word of God translated into
but the point is
human
that it
language.
has like God's involved in it.
Is still like incredibly powerful. Yeah.
And playing a part in the creation.
Yeah, there's still like a mysticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike this creature where it very pointedly is like God is not involved in this.
Yeah, this is pretty godless as a matter of fact. Yeah.
And noticeably Mary's husband was a proponent of atheism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, a lot of people at that time were like deists.
Yeah, I mean, it was very like it was an interesting time for religion because it was when, you know, like Enlightenment stuff coming on, science and that clashing.
The Reformation was long enough ago.
With, you know, God and like evolution. What does that mean for God? And rainbows.
Anyway, I like rainbows, covenants. I like his time with the hermit. It's so cute.
I like that the hermit was
they're
like,
friends.
Was praying for a friend.
Yeah.
So like the moment this guy shows up, he's just like, okay, good, a friend. I was asking. So obviously God had a part in this.
Yeah. And they're perfect for each other because the monster wants somebody who won't judge him.
Yeah. And this person can't because you can't see him. And the creature is a very sweet, gentle person.
Yeah. And the hermit doesn't really care what the fuck he looks like.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
and
it's not what matters to him.
But he says, I will look after you and you will comfort me.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, they're like equals.
Yeah.
They're like in this together. Like,
They're
what
friends.
a great union.
Yeah. And he teaches the creature a bunch of words.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Maybe I just missed it. I definitely remember him teaching the creature the word friend.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember the creature learning the word wife.
Well, I wonder how much we don't see. Like, do we see his whole time with the hermit?
Right.
Also, noticeably, for whatever reason, Dr. Pretorius takes the credit when he, like, reintroduces Henry and the monster to each other. He's like, and now he talks again, talks now, thanks to me.
Oh.
Dr. Pretorius is like, I did that.
Dr. Pretorius is established very early on as a liar.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So,
but I'm
sure.
also wondering, like, is that full lie, or did he also teach him some more?
Maybe
did he add to the vocabulary?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not to start talking about Dr. Pretorius, but to start talking about Dr. Pretorius
Right.
a little bit, he is the one who actually first puts forth the idea of making specifically a woman.
Yes. He's the one who wants to make a lady.
Yeah. The creature at first assumes it'll be a man, like a friend, man.
Because he does ask for friend. He does,
he
he
wants
does
a
say friend a
and
lot.
he assumes man.
Yeah. And then when the bride is, animated, he jumps from friend to wife like real quick.
Yeah. Woman, friend, wife.
Yeah.
I believe are
Like
his words.
like putting words together. Woman friend.
Yeah.
There's a word for that.
It's a
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
But like what that means to him.
And yeah.
I mean, to what extent was the hermit his husband?
Yeah.
Really? They were, a
They
union.
cohabitated. Yeah.
They were a union.
Yeah.
So, maybe
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
But he does really jump from friend hopefully in a marriage, everybody involved in that marriage is on equal footing. But like friendship is like built on, you're friends with people who are like, equal to you.
Yeah.
And then so like friend is just like a much more equal relationship. But then, it being 1935 and taking place and God only knows when.
Yeah.
Yeah. To say
Anywhere from 1816 to 1935.
is then wife. Like that comes with different connotations.
Yeah.
And what I think to start to answer the question that I think we'll probably just tease out over this entire episode is like, why is this movie so iconic? Why do people love the bride so much? Because she is only in it for 3 minutes. I think part of it is that like she is not interested.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
her main way of communication is screaming and hissing.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 ways of saying like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not interested in this.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, that's part of it.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And to go back to our original creature a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel bad for him. The switch he has to make where he says, I love dead, hate living.
Yeah.
When it's like, no, actually, you love the living.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
You loved the hermit. You
you and the hermit were friends.
It's that they're not kind to you, not that you, and it turns out that he has the same problems with the dead, you know, if you consider her that, because she's made it through a different process, but
yeah, but I guess she really is whatever he is as far as the living or dead status. I would say that they're in the same category, whatever category it is.
And then at the end, the creature then says that we belong dead.
Yeah.
Which is like then. He's specifically actually talking to Dr. Pretorius when he says that, which like, fucking kill that guy.
He's
right. But like
Dr.
then
Pretorius
to automatically
belongs dead.
like, it's just sort of assumed that the bride will go down with him.
He decides for her.
Yeah.
Not,
which is like
not crazy about that. Yeah.
But
I also just overall, it's what the creature says. Dr. Pretorius says it. The word mate.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting word.
That does come from the novel.
Okay.
That's what
okay.
The creature says he wants Victor Frankenstein to make is a mate.
A mate. So,
and that's actually why Frankenstein is like, I don't know about this, because if they actually mate and make more
and
of these
they
creatures,
procreate,
and they are all, what if they're all evil murderers?
So that's what I was wondering about. I was like, what exactly does he mean by mate? Like, does he mean a partner? Or does he mean like someone to procreate with?
Pretorius says that to follow the lead of nature or of God, if you like your Bible stories, male and female created to them, be fruitful and multiply, create a race, a man-made race upon the face of the earth. Why not?
But that to me, you're right. But like that to me is like, is Dr. Pretorius going to create this entire race?
But he says be fruitful and multiply. I think he's implying that the race will multiply itself.
But of course.
Because that's what God did, was he created Adam and Eve and they multiplied.
Right. That's true. Yeah. So, but then that makes me wonder of like, again, the fiction and the science fiction of it all. It's like, are either of them capable of procreating?
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. How's that work?
I mean, and then we also have the example of fucking Dr. Pretorius made a bunch of tiny people. I can't even get into that.
So we
will get into that.
I can't.
But before we get into the fact that they have this existing example of this tiny queen and this tiny king, and the queen wants nothing to do with the tiny king.
No, but that tiny king.
So like whether or not they could procreate.
Yeah. That tiny
to
king
say
is
that they will want to, but of course the woman's view doesn't matter. Like what she wants doesn't matter.
Right, because the queen is like, no, thank you, leave me alone. But the king is like manic. He's freaking out.
Yeah. He's trying to break out of his cage or his bell jar.
His bell jar, yeah. It's very...
And like get at her.
It's very assaulty.
Yeah.
It's not great. Yeah.
No.
But then, of course, what we do see those tiny people. We see the king and the queen. There's also like a pope or a bishop. There's a church figure.
I forgot about that.
There's a church figure who is just like silent.
Yeah.
You know, just sitting there regally, you know, not, or ignoring what the king is doing to the queen, you know. What else? We get like a cool mermaid.
We get a mermaid.
That was legit.
A little dancer, ballerina, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And then the devil, of course, who just happens to look a little like Dr. Pretorius. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. What does he say? A little bit like myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says something about like, you know, don't want to seem not humble, but
yeah. So yeah, they're called, I'm pretty sure they're just called like homunculi, which makes sense because that's like a tiny version of a proportionally small version of a person, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because what we find out is that Dr. Pretorius has figured out how to create artificial life.
Yeah, he uses seeds.
Seeds. He grew them. He grows them.
And I don't think he intended for them to be tiny.
No, so he wants them to be life-size, but
which is why he wants to work with Henry.
Yeah, that's the code he hasn't cracked yet. And then, so Hank is, again, not interested. He's like, he kind of understands, like, okay, that got a little out of hand. Lost my cool there. I'm going to back off. And Dr. Pretorius is like, no, I actually need you because I kind of have the same ideas. I'm almost there, and I just need you to
help me make the full size
be the linchpin. Yes. And so this is honestly the gayest part of this movie is that Pretorius, who, by the way, I know it's 1935, but before he even shows up, he is described by the staff person as queer looking. And I know what that means in 1935, but
yeah.
Come on. And so he, on Hank's wedding night.
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah. No, there's
hair.
just like a hair stuck on this.
Probably. Is it my hair? Is it cat hair? Is it your hair?
It's on the mic. I don't know, but it keeps itching me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get rid of it.
I don't know.
That he, like, Dr. Pretorius lures or coerces or whatever word you want to use, Hank away from his wife on his wedding night.
Yeah.
For the purposes of creating non-procreative life.
Yeah.
It's like pretty gay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Pretorius is like absolutely this like acceptable queer archetype.
Oh yeah, there's that great line he has.
Yeah.
By which I mean, obviously he's evil.
Yes.
Which is the only acceptable way for gay people to be.
Yeah, we're deep in Hays Code here.
I mean, he explicitly says that the little devil looks like him.
Yeah.
And then he says, sometimes I have wondered whether life wouldn't be much more amusing if we were all devils. No nonsense about angels and being good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, okay, gay boy.
Yeah. He's definitely the bad guy. And yeah, he's the bad guy. He's the one who's like manipulating Hank. He's the one who's, when he gets a hold of the creature, is like, hey, go kidnap Elizabeth.
Yeah, we got this. Let's do this. He's the one who basically puts the idea in the creature's head. Another line that he says that I think is
oh my
relevant,
God, he has so many amazing lines.
One of my favorite, it's kind of cheeky, is science, like love, has her little surprises.
Aww.
I'm like, okay, what little surprises has your love life had?
Yeah. So I also want to point out that he is introduced as a doctor of philosophy, not a doctor of medicine.
Yeah.
He's Dr. Pretorius, PhD.
Yeah.
Not Dr. Pretorius, MD. So...
But, I mean, that would not have been a big deal in the time of the novel. Because as we discussed, it was natural philosophy.
We all talked about that.
It was all natural philosophy.
Yeah.
But in the 1935s era of this film, that maybe this film was taking place in sometimes.
Who's to say?
Being a philosopher is very different. And I would assume would bring to mind more... I don't know. What would that bring to mind? What would be... the philosophers of the day that would bring to mind? Or would that bring to mind more like therapy stuff and like that sort of psychoanalytical stuff? Or
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, they would have been studying like...
I don't know much about the history of philosophy.
Me neither. But also, like, we call it a philosophy, but it could be like the philosophy of anything. Like, are we talking about like the philosophy of economics? Are we talking about the philosophy of chemistry? I don't fucking know.
I mean, he seems to be a philosopher about like the nature of good and evil, and like the nature of life itself.
That's true.
Which is, that's philosophy.
Yeah. And again, he like grew those homunculi, so I don't know, maybe he's into a little bit of like botany or some shit. I don't know.
From what?
How did he get the seeds?
His own seed?
That was in my notes. I'm like, he made tiny people. I have 1,000 questions.
So many questions. Though you gotta appreciate from the outside movie standpoint.
Yeah.
The fucking artistry.
Wow.
Those tiny people.
They did a great job with all those scenes. Yeah.
Incredible.
So,
they're tiny. They're in little bell jars living their lives.
Yeah. So
and there's the big people being normal.
It's crazy.
How'd they do it?
It looks good. Yeah. Yeah. So he is obviously our bad guy. And so like, that's why he's gay coded, and he's gay coded because he's the bad guy. Right.
Yeah.
So he's very like, I don't know what else to say. And like, it's like, again, not an original thought. It's all over the internet. Like, he's very sissified.
Yeah.
Like, he's not particularly masculine, he's like kind of campy as fuck. Like, he lies a lot, when he's like, he offers Henry some gin. He's like, it's my only vice.
And then he says that same exact thing about
cigars later. Yeah.
You're like, okay, buddy.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, we see.
We get it.
We get it. And then, so it's okay because he does indeed die in the end.
Yes.
So it's okay.
But of course, his death comes with the death of some chick who literally just woke up like 5 seconds ago.
Some chick who was murdered to be reanimated.
Murdered to be, because he wanted a young, fresh lady corpse.
Right, because heaven forbid he make a female creature the way he made the male creature, so like disembodied like that.
Which
heaven
also
forbid.
Makes me wonder about what he did to make his tiny people. Like, was part of that seed also biomaterial from people he murdered?
These are the questions.
These are the questions
we have,
Dr. Pretorius, what are you doing?
Yes. So he has some specific ideas about science. Yeah, like he wants science to be able to give men the ability to create life.
Yeah.
To kind of take
and
this idea of the divine out of the equation.
And also
because he's the devil.
Women out of the equation, but also in a way where he's making women almost like he's really obsessed with making women almost more than men. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why are the women that he made? Okay, he made a little devil and a little priest and a little king, which all are very like archetypal or whatever. But then the women he makes, like, okay, you start with the queen and then you make a beautiful fucking mermaid and then like this gorgeous ballerina dancer.
Yeah.
And now your first thought for like your next creation where it's finally going to be life size is
A lady
woman person.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you like? I get the gay coding, but I also feel like he's one of those people who doesn't so much have an attraction to men so much as a disgust towards women.
Right.
You know?
So
like he hates women more than he likes men.
That's the thing, is that like there's a lot of queerness in this film, but it's also misogynistic queerness. It's like these are
none of it was fun.
White gay men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's no place for women in this world.
Yeah.
And like
they're literally we're taking Henry away from his marriage bed where he should be making a son to the house of Frankenstein.
Right. As his father explicitly said.
He's making a son to the house of Pretorius.
A daughter.
A daughter to the house of Pretorius. But yes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it's all wrong. It's all unnatural.
And it's even more unnatural by naming this the Bride of Frankenstein because, like, who's Frankenstein? Not the creature.
No.
It's Henry.
It's
so
Henry.
who is Henry's daughter figure gonna fall for other than the person that she's supposed to be the bride of, which is Henry Frankenstein? That's the only person that the bride shows any interest in is Henry Frankenstein.
Yeah.
She seems to kind of go to him for like protection and comfort while trying to, get away from the
she's figuring
creature.
out what the fuck is going on. Yeah.
And it's just like, there's a whole bunch of like weird unnatural stuff going on with like the women and their own, what they're allowed to desire and forced to desire.
Yeah. There's still like a lot of heterosexism. Like still like very like gender roles are still very much at play.
Yeah.
Even if we're not being strictly heterosexual.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. Like Dr. Pretorius, like probably, well, I mean, he's obviously a fucking psycho.
Well, yeah.
So
he's a fucking murderer.
He probably doesn't think of people as people.
Right. No.
And that's probably especially true for women.
But
so.
he seems to think of them as material.
The way that like some gay dudes are crazy misogynistic.
Yeah. That's kind of the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And that meant that this poor woman just got to like wake up, serve cunt, and die.
Yeah. For 3 minutes. Yeah. She didn't even get to get tipped yet.
No. And she's so cool.
She's so cool. I
understand the obsession with her. I was so hyped for her this whole film called Bride of Frankenstein. And then she doesn't.
So it takes her 64 minutes to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she dies within 3 minutes of that,
She gets less than 3 minutes of screen time. And then the movie ends.
And all of her scream time is just those big, beautiful eyes.
Her gorgeous eyes.
And her screams and her hisses, which are also very good.
Which were Elsa Lanchester's idea, by the way.
Which was?
The hisses. She got the idea from like swans and geese.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You want fucking crazy creatures.
And in general, I was like in the research, I learned that. But when we were watching it, I did notice that she is kind of making these movements.
Yeah.
And
that are very jerky.
It's giving Bird of Prey.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it totally is.
Yeah. And then like the hissing and the screaming.
Yeah. Whereas the creature of Frankenstein, if that's what we'll call him, is a lot more slow and deliberate.
Yeah, hulking.
Yeah, she is very jerky.
Yeah, and yeah, this is just like classic the way men treat women. It doesn't even matter if they're dead. She's not immediately accepting or supportive of whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And so he's therefore, she hates me, I must kill her.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, so
suicide time.
She must die because she is not doing exactly what you need her to be doing.
Okay, incel behavior.
It is very incel behavior. And it's like, creature, you know better than that. Did you learn nothing from the hermit?
Right.
And it's like, is Dr. Pretorius
what happened
this
to your growth?
evil?
Yeah.
Like, is like the,
his influence or whatever?
His influence and his reach. And especially like as they, they also change.
Very grooming.
Very. And they've also like changed like settings.
Yeah.
He's not in the village, in the little
yeah.
hut of the hermit. He's like in the weird castle with the weird lab.
Yeah,
and
which is probably very triggering for him.
I'm sure. Yeah, he probably remembers Fritz with the
Yeah,
with
because that was literally yesterday.
the torch, because that was like 48 hours ago for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
little thing.
I hate that for her.
I know.
And like it's just very feminist. Like she gets 3 minutes of screen time. She comes to life. The one thing she really seems to do is make it obvious that she's not interested in belonging to someone else.
Yeah.
And then she dies.
Yeah. So then that feminist message is kind of undercut.
Immediately. It's a pretty bad feminist message. Yeah. I got more to say. I don't know if we want to get into that right now, but
Sure,
I got
why
more to
not?
say. Well, and another thing I wanted to mention is, again, the why so iconic.
Yeah. I mean, she's iconic.
She's
I will
iconic.
grant that.
Exactly.
I've always loved
the image of the bride is iconic. And I think what the fact is 90 years old is part of it. Like, it's just withstood the test of time. And like, it is drag.
Yeah.
Right? Like, her hair is drag. Her eyebrows.
She's gorgeous.
She looks gorgeous.
Incredible.
She's got a bold lip. Like, and she's
Yes.
she's serving cunt.
Yeah.
And she gets like that. It's iconic. It's
so
so recognizable.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, again, another reason, like, who cares that she only gets 3 minutes of screen time? Like, she rings out the rag.
Yeah.
In those 3
she
minutes.
does it.
Yes.
Which then is
shout
wild
out to
me
Elsa Lanchester.
that then they continue to make more Frankenstein movies
Yes.
and never bring her back.
No.
Like, what the fuck?
No.
Let her, I hope
They even
let her have her girls trip. Let
next
her go
movie-
off and do what she wants to do.
The next movie after this is Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So, which I haven't seen. I'm gonna just
But
be
she's
honest.
not in it.
She's not in it. This is where Bela Lugosi comes back as Igor. We
Yes.
actually get that character then.
Yes.
So I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happens.
happens,
If there's
actually, yeah.
another doctor that comes around, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, isn't it? No, wait. Isn't it because it's Henry Frankenstein's son who's the scientist?
That Son of Frankenstein.
I think so.
Again, so like the Bride of Frankenstein. Like, are we talking about
which
Elizabeth
Frankenstein
right now?
are we talking about? Because this movie does actually have, right in the beginning, it has Lord Byron referred to the creature as Frankenstein.
Oh,
So like they're already starting to conflate Frankenstein with his monster.
with this
you know?
creation. Yeah.
Which actually does mean when people get pedantic about people referring to the monster as Frankenstein, if they're talking about the movie version, in the movie, he's called Frankenstein. So it's not technically wrong, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's only confusing when you're also trying to talk about Henry and or Vicar Frankenstein and the creature at the same time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, why not call it Frankenstein?
That's all fine.
Why, it would be if Frankenstein is the son or child of some way of Victor, then like, yeah, his name would also be Frankenstein. That's how names work.
That is how names work. Yep. So let me actually just take this opportunity right now to shout out a Substack I found.
Okay.
Which is called Eleanor's Horrors by Eleanor Johnson. Shout out. And I love this. Listen to the title of this particular. I'm unfamiliar with Substack. Are they?
I guess you could call them articles.
Is it a post?
I mean, it's a
an
blog
article?
post, I guess.
A blog
but-
post. This blog post from June of 2024 is called Frankenfeminism's 6, which means that stands to reason there are 5 other Frankenfeminisms that I have not
yet
been able to
perused.
read yet. But this one's called Frankenfeminism 6, The Bride of Frankenstein, 1935, or Bitches Get Stitches.
Yes.
Yeah, and Eleanor is correct. So I've actually really just took a huge chunk. I might just read it, just do a verbatim here. Hold on, let me get comfy.
Yeah.
This Substack article starts with kind of what you were talking about, like the, acknowledgement of Mary Shelley, like calling her by her actual name and not her husband's name, right?
Yeah.
And how
And like fully physically featuring her.
Yeah.
As the creator.
Yeah. It really sets up like a feminist vibe.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, cool. We're like totally acknowledging, like the actual writer of this.
Yeah, the creative power of women.
Yeah. And so, you kind of set up Bride of Frankenstein 1935 thinking like, oh, is this going to be like a feminist manifesto or something, you know? And Eleanor argues that no, it is not.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to agree. So she says, so now the fact that the bride dies mute, dehumanized, and addled, good word, addled, in the end has some serious significance because she, Mary Shelley, because it is the same actress, reanimated into the form of a monster. So you remember all that good, juicy 1930s feminism at the start of the film? All that talk of how amazing Mary Shelley is, what a great writer, how surprising, but also how delightful that she could write such a scary story. Remember watching Mary Shelley have two of the greatest English poets of the 19th century, Shelley and Byron, like verily mewling at her feet for a second installment. Yes. Well, she gets monsterized and killed off at the end. Yeah. And then I will give the last paragraph off to you.
Okay, I'm excited.
Right there. So where does this leave us?
So where does that leave us? It leaves us in a state of profound ambivalence about the role of women in producing great works of horror. The ostensibly terrifying, lightning-haired she-monster, the Bride of Frankenstein herself, is powerless. She's not scary. She's scared. Ugh. Why? Because she thinks she's about to be pawned off on a heavily stitched-up Leatherface dude whose primary goal is to make her his quote-unquote wife, whatever that means to him. Why does she think that? Because she is about to be pawned off on him. He forces her over to sit next to him on a bench before he lovingly strokes her hand. She's not into that. She's terrified of him, terrified of all these men who want to control her. Given that the bride is also Mary Shelley, the ending of the film is also a dark and frankly depressing allegory about what the men who have reanimated Mary Shelley and her novel into this film, and here I'm talking about the all-male stable of directors and producers that made this film, have done to her.
Who I have some stuff to say about, by the way.
They've made her mute. They've made her non-agential. I don't actually know that word.
I don't know what that means.
They've coerced her terrifying, profoundly philosophical, wonderfully realistic feeling science fiction horror story into a vacuous narrative about an incel, a monstrous man who can't get laid, who turns on his mark and kills her. Yes.
So you and
snaps. You and snaps.
You and Eleanor should hang out sometime.
Yeah. No, that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't the story. This isn't what.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean about the story. Like, it just kind of fell flat to me or something. Yeah. Like, it just didn't have the same emotional resonance with me because I was kind of left just being like, that's the story you're telling. That's it. The bride shows up and just dies?
Yeah.
Really? That's it?
Yeah. Ooh. That's it. That's going to get clipped. Yeah. That's a clip. Yeah.
My voice got a little high there. Yeah. I'll admit it.
That's it.
Sorry, sound guy Matt.
Yeah.
You do such great work. We ruin it every
but
time.
Like, inquiring minds want to know. That's it?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, like, that is it.
Yeah.
So, again, so there's just a few things about this that Eleanor mentions that, you know, this really is not the feminist manifesto we really want it to be.
Yeah.
But again, what, you know, this movie's been very well studied, very well analyzed, and it's very well known that how many queer men were involved in this film. So obviously the director, James Wales, was a gay man. And what, I don't know how much you know about James Wales. Or really. James Whale. I think it's just one whale.
Yeah.
Just one. He was as close as one could be in the 1930s. He was openly gay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people kind of were at that time.
Yeah.
In their circles.
Yeah. You kind of had to, like, you know, play
a
little bit of your game.
The whole kind of known sewing circle of queer women.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So obviously the director, James Whale, is a gay man. And then Colin Clive, who plays Hank Frank, famously either gay or bisexual. And of course, this is the thing. It's like, it's the 1930s. We don't know what words he would use to describe his sexuality, but
this further
queer for sure.
Disappoints me.
Yes.
How much the first film fumbled the novel's great homoerotic friendship between Victor Frankenstein and his best friend Henry, And they gave us a Henry and a Victor and decided to make them kind of weirdly fighting over the same woman, sort of.
And then Victor's just gone.
And then he's just
gone. Not here.
And we could have had a beautiful homoerotic friendship played by at least one queer actor.
Right?
Oh my God.
And then another little piece of trivia, maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't. Colin Clive died like 2 years after this movie.
Oh shit, did he?
Yeah, so he was a terrible alcoholic.
Oh.
And died as a result of tuberculosis, which was probably because his immune system was so shot because of his alcohol use. So R.I.P. Colin Clive.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
He gives a great performance.
Yeah, he does great. And then the actor who plays Dr. Pretorius, Ernest Thesiger, also gay.
Okay.
Gay guy. And again, sort of like as close as out as one could kind of be.
Yeah.
He was like quoted as saying that him and James Whale, the director, were the quote unquote queens on the set, you know, so like people know.
Yeah.
And then also what I was like learning from the production history, it also kind of sounded like Elsa Lanchester, who does play the bride and Mary Shelley, I actually learned a new term. So I've always heard the term fag hag. But I learned a new term, fruit fly.
Fruit fly!
Which is cute.
That's cuter.
It's cuter. Yeah,
it's way cuter.
A little less, shamey.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounded like during production, Elsa Lanchester was like kind of the fruit fly. Like, oh it's this kind of party. Like, okay. Okay. The girls are here. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are all queens.
So it's just like a super queer cast.
Yeah.
But they are all men.
Yeah.
And so this kind of again goes back to my idea and like a couple other like highly likely queer men in the production side of it, this is sort of goes back to my idea of like, this is the queerness that sometimes comes from gay men that is like deeply misogynistic.
Yes, that is deeply uninterested in women and their feelings and desires.
And them existing.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really does kind of become that. And like...
Other than kind of as like dress-up dolls.
Yeah.
Where they like an idol.
To make like a drag queen out of.
Yeah,
to like put her in makeup and a wig and a fierce gown. Yeah.
Yeah.
So... We do really get that, and there were a lot of passes of the script, mainly because, again, it needed a pass code.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But there were a lot of passes of the script, and like James Whale and other like producers had like a lot of, a really big hand in doing things to the script. So what did it say? It said inspired by or
suggested
by.
Even better.
Very much suggested by, because these men in Hollywood are like, no, this doesn't quite fit our needs. Like we
have our own story that we want to tell.
We want to put in some, like, again, the sissification of Dr. Pretorius. We want, this is America in the 1930s.
Fully made up Dr. Pretorius.
Absolutely.
At least in the first film, that random doctor, scientist guy, he's like a character in the novel. Yeah. They change his role, but still, he exists.
Yeah.
This one, they're like, no, we just need some fruity little guy who's evil.
And I'm not even necessarily saying that this is a bad thing. I mean, it's a little disappointing, but they do take this source material and run with it and create something that is of the time and is of the people who are making it. And that requires removing Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
I have one more piece of trivia. Go ahead.
But before you get to that, I just want to jump on just also with the idea for so long that so many people thought that Mary Shelley
couldn't possibly have written Frankenstein.
Or like she did, but Percy played a big hand in it, or like should really be considered a co-writer.
They collaborated.
Right. When really what he was sort of like a line editor. Like like people have editors on their novels. That's normal, like the ideas were hers and like, so it's just the idea of like, we don't actually need the women in this story, or like the women couldn't possibly be in this story. They aren't interesting.
I mean, Elizabeth got a makeover, but she's still kind of no one.
She's no one.
Yeah.
I remember less about her in this film than in the first film.
Yeah.
Where at least she kind of represented something. She was that like pure good womanhood. And this one, she's just like the object that is used to make Henry get involved in the science.
Right.
Through her, the threat to her.
Right. Well, and
to reassert the heterosexuality of everything at the end.
Like, she is the, like, heterosexual monogamy. Like, she
Yes.
is your...
Which I guess is another reason to
gal.
get rid of her friend Victor. Because he was sort of a looming threat to that.
That's true.
That
Yeah.
marriage.
That's true. Good point. Even though he was like the best man or something.
Yeah. I'm like,
whatever.
are you best friends?
Whatever.
Do you like each other? Do you hate each other?
What's going on? Did you just like grow up together? What?
Like, what's the deal?
I have one more
Tell me
piece
more.
of trivia. And I'm sorry, it's kind of a bummer, but do you know why they recast Elizabeth?
No.
Because it's not the same actress.
No, I don't.
So-
I mean, I guess assumed she wasn't available.
Well, she wasn't, but it's for sad reasons.
Oh, no.
So the original...
She didn't die too, did she?
No. The original actress who played Elizabeth, her name was May Clark. And in 1932, the year after Frankenstein comes out, she had a mental breakdown and spent like a year in like a psychiatric hospital.
Do we think part of that was from like sudden fame, or like, you know, how fame can mess with women?
I don't know.
Well, and people. I guess,
Humans,
you know,
yeah.
and
I
being
don't know.
portrayed on screen. Was she big at all before Frankenstein, or was that kind of her first?
I don't
do you know?
think so.
Okay.
And then in 1933, she got in a car accident.
Oh God.
And had a lot of injuries. She even broke her
Girl.
jaw.
Girl.
So she was not available.
No.
Yeah. So
She
shout
was
out
put
to May
through
Clark.
it.
And
thing.
then I felt bad because I was watching the movie and thinking like, oh my God, this actress is doing such a better job with this character. And of course, that's not May Clark's fault because that's the way Elizabeth was probably meant to be portrayed in the first one. And then I just feel bad. I was like, ah, damn, like that's not May Clark's fault. You know, like she was going through it. So just want to shout out to May Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
To be fair, I don't think this Elizabeth was better. She was just sexier.
Sexier and a little bit more outspoken.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a little bit more willing to say, well, what I think you should do is.
Yeah. But like in terms of being a character in the film, I think she did less.
Yeah.
Because at least in the first film, she was kind of a driving force of like, we need to see what's going on with my fiance.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is he?
Let's go.
Let's get his father involved. Like, let's figure this out.
That's true.
Let's call up his old professor.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
like she really doesn't
Somebody
do
who
anything.
can talk some sense into
Yeah,
him.
she
Because
doesn't-
he's not going to listen to her.
I don't think she does anything to actively affect the plot other than to be a reason why Henry does things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Catalyst. So it's we're picking up on it because it's true. Like this movie, or rather the subject matter is sort of being taken and created by a group of American men, right? And what ends up happening is an erasure of Mary Shelley.
Yeah. Which brings us beautifully to
Literary corner.
where we get to talk about my goth queen, Mary Shelley.
She is a goth queen.
So yeah, I wanted just for this episode, this works perfect. I didn't know this was what you were going to bring to us today.
Yeah.
Everything that you just brought to us.
Oh, I've got
Yeah.
still more, but later. Yeah.
But I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But this gives me a wonderful opportunity because all I wanted to do was just sort of bring the light back to Mary Shelley
let's do
because
it.
she is somebody who has been at different points kind of overlooked.
Yeah.
And so like here's a chance to give her a bit of her perspective back.
Give her flowers.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit about like how some like I really just want to go through her biography, like a very truncated version of her biography, obviously. It's like a page and a half I have here. But like just kind of the highlights that I think maybe A, make me love her, and B, give us something interesting to think about in terms of the novel that she wrote, the story that she wrote, and like thinking about in terms of what that story became. As we've been talking about, may be interesting. So just to start off, she was born in 1797 on August 30th. So she's a Virgo.
Oh, God.
I know. So she was destined to have a wild life. Like
Yeah,
she was
just-
destined to have some highs and lows.
Just like my sister and my mother.
Yeah. Virgo is a mental illness. We've said this. And she was the child of William Godwin and Mary Wollstonecraft, who we've already been sort of talking about a little
Gave
bit.
them their flowers last episode.
Yes. But Wollstonecraft died about a week after Mary was born because of
damn.
complications from the birth.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, automatically, we have some connections between birth and death, which I think we're just going to put a little pin in right now.
Yep.
Mary's father did remarry pretty quickly.
Makes sense.
Her mom, Mary Wollstonecraft, actually had a child from a previous relationship. And then Mary's dad gets remarried, and so Mary ends up with some step siblings too. Yeah, like we said last time, William Godwin, her dad, was also a well-known novelist and like political philosopher. He was like kind of an anarchist and had some kind of radical ideas. And like his writing style, like the type of novel he wrote was like it became known as like a Godwinian novel, you know, and like other people would write in like the Godwinian novel style, you know, like he was a big deal. I don't think we talk about him as much now, but like he was a big deal of like the Enlightenment going into the Romantic era. And then Mary Wollstonecraft is a proto-feminist, I believe they think of her as, best known for writing A Vindication of the Rights of Women. I actually was never much interested in like, well, horror as genre in general, and like Frankenstein in general never much interested me. So my first, like my love for Mary Shelley actually came through first learning about her mother in one of my college literature classes where we read Vindication of the Rights of Women. And then I found out that her daughter was Mary Shelley. And I was like, wait, now I need to actually take a look at this and like see what's going on there.
Had you read it? Because Mary Shelley did not just write Frankenstein.
No, she's written other stuff.
Yeah, she's like pretty...
We will get into that too.
Okay. But what my question was had you read any of that?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know it existed.
Okay. Because were you thinking like, yeah, she's a Frankenstein lady?
Yeah. Yeah. If I thought about her at all, you know? Right?
Well, I mean, there's also like, you also have your like... You have your faves.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, yeah, I'm kind of like reading Oscar Wilde right now.
Yeah, you know. And I wasn't really a horror person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is probably what you would have thought she would have been.
Yeah. Picture of Dorian Gray, like that was the extent of my Gothic, you know?
That's
and then
where
Jane Austen's novel.
Yeah.
She wrote a Gothic-y kind of satire. But the point is, anyway, Godwin and Wollstonecraft, they were both pretty kind of politically radical and had some crazy thoughts.
Yeah.
And they were both kind of like a little bit anti-marriage, you know?
Yeah.
And had some like really wild... They changed a little bit when they got
Do they
older.
have money?
Not really.
Okay. Just wondering.
Yeah. No, actually, William Godwin continued to have big deal money problems.
Oh.
And like part of maybe how he got to know Percy Shelley is that Percy was like, I'll give you like Percy was a huge fan of his and like his political philosophies and stuff and was like gonna sponsor him and give him money. You know?
Yeah.
That's like kind of how they got
a patron.
In touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so both of her parents' philosophies can definitely be seen in Frankenstein. And also after Wollstonecraft, her mom, you know, after she died, her dad, William, wrote this like very loving biography of her. Aww. This is another thing that I love about their story because this biography also, like he wanted to make people love his wife kind of, which is something that Mary will end up doing with Percy's legacy as well. But his biography was honest and it included the fact that she had had affairs without being married to people and had an illegitimate daughter. So obviously this fucking ruined her reputation.
Yeah,
and
like
made people
that.
go like, oh, never mind. We shouldn't listen to anything this crazy feminist has to say. So like it didn't really, the world was scandalized.
Yeah.
But Mary actually grew up like reading this and reading Wollstonecraft's writing and like really loving her mom through all of this writing and like these details of her life, which is just kind of beautiful.
That is lovely.
But yes, Mary and Percy met when she was 15 and he was 20. And not only was he 20, but he was also recently married. So like red flags.
Red flags everywhere. Yeah.
And they did wait 2 years. So she was at least 17 before they ran away together.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And they ran off, like I said, with Mary's stepsister, Claire Claremont. They just brought her along. And so...
What else was she doing?
Yeah.
You know?
And so they were obviously not married because Percy was already married.
He's married, yeah.
But early in the relationship, Mary gets pregnant and they have a daughter. She's born like premature and so she dies within days of her birth.
Yeah.
And then a little bit after that, she's pregnant again and they have a son who dies when he's 3 years old. And then a daughter who dies when she is 1 year old.
Oh my goodness.
And then within 2 years of these children dying, she's pregnant again. And this time they have a fourth child who's the son.
This is before oral contraceptive.
Yeah. Percy Francis Shelley, who's the only one of their children to live until adulthood.
Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah.
So she has a lot going on when she, in that time period we were talking about where she's at the Via Diodati working on Frankenstein. Like she is pregnant and has just lost a child and then is pretty quickly getting pregnant again. She hasn't lost the other children yet.
I mean, that's a nightmare.
But like that is going on.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine that plus the death of her own mother in childbirth.
Anxious.
It has something to do with her writing of Frankenstein and with like the horrors of the birthing process.
It is horrifying. She's right.
Like, following it like the responsibility or the failure of what you do to like parent a child, like how much did she feel like she had failed, even though it wasn't her fault, like children die, things like that. But like how much was that on her mind of like the responsibility of parenthood and like the horrors of childbirth and all of that stuff. And also, as she was writing Frankenstein, like if all of this stuff wasn't enough, one of her half-sisters, Jane, commits suicide.
Ugh. Man.
And within a month of that, Percy's first wife also dies of suicide, which obviously Mary didn't, care about this woman. But before this woman committed suicide, she was like pregnant before her and Percy were separated. So she does have a son with Percy, who is like the heir to Percy's everything. So there's a woman who has a son and is doing things right and is married.
Yeah.
So there's like that going on with Mary. But then there's also like she commits suicide and then
Bummer,
while also her stepsisters, Mary's stepsister is going to. So there's like a lot of death going on while she's writing this novel. And I would say that like Mary and Percy's relationship were kind of always friends with death. But before we get too much more into that, I do also want to talk about how like just like William Godwin, like Percy was like, fuck marriage. He got married because he needed money.
Yeah.
Because
it's a contract. Yeah.
That's also why Lord Byron got married. Like that it was happening, you know? And the only reason that they did get married after his wife died is because William Godwin, in his old age, was actually kind of scandalized that his, teenage daughter ran off with a married man. And he cut ties.
Whoa.
They were like estranged during this time.
Whoa.
And it wasn't until they were like, okay, we're actually getting married now and like legitimizing this relationship that she actually was able to have her relationship with her dad again.
Whoa.
Yeah. With Percy also being like an acolyte of his too.
Yeah,
so this was like a pretty serious situation.
Damn.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And Percy definitely for the time had some pretty radical ideas about love and relationships. Like I feel like obviously different time period, but he was very in our time polyamorous.
Oh yeah.
Like fully.
Yeah. Ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah.
It did sound ethical. Sounded like everybody was pretty aware.
Yeah. I mean, how much it's like debatable how keen Mary was on it all. Like politically, she was a proponent of free love.
Free love, yeah.
Like politically, that was her view. But also
in her own life though.
She didn't seem like at least physically interested in other people besides for Percy. Like there's even suggestions that Percy was trying to get her to like have these other relationships with people, and she was like,
free love, right? And she's like, in theory.
Like the most she did was that she formed like pretty intense emotional bonds with people, men and women.
That counts.
Like some of their friends. And that happened throughout their marriage, but it's unclear if she had any like other sexual relationships like Percy was having with, among other people, Mary's half-sister or stepsister, but whatever.
Claire Claremont.
That's fine. That's normal.
I'm going to, any chance I get to say Claire Claremont, I'm taking it. Yeah, it's a great name. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to write a whole TV show. If I wrote TV shows, it would just be all about all these people. Because another of note to talk on, there are some, I don't know how much this is wishful thinking and how much of it is brought out in the evidence, but there is, suggestions of bisexuality among the Shelley marriage.
Absolutely.
There's there. Yeah. And there's this one couple that they had a really close bond with, like this couple who actually I don't think they were legally married either, but they were like together as a married couple.
Sure.
Edward and Jane Williams. And like, I don't know what, if anything, exactly happened between all of them, other than it is true that for a while they all lived together in a little house in Italy.
Cute.
Percy wrote so many poems dedicated to Jane. This is where I get a little bit like, Percy, you piece of shit, though, because this was also at a time when Mary had just like lost several children, or like had another she does have one more miscarriage at some point, and like was just kind of really depressed.
Yeah.
And he's over there writing songs to this other woman. Like, so we don't love that.
Not a good look. Yeah.
But also, like, after both Mary and Jane's husbands die, Mary and Jane actually do kind of like continue to stay together and like live together for a little bit on and off, like not for super long term, but they do continue. And like some people have suggested from like Mary's like diary and ratings and stuff that like some people have said that she was like kind of a little bit obsessed with Jane too, like just a little bit in love with Jane also. Yeah. Just like her husband was. Like there is definitely, and like in general, there is some stuff in her diaries where it's like she's a little bit more keen on women. Like, it reads bisexual.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not an expert on this or whatever, and obviously it was a different time period.
Yeah.
And like, what all, blah, blah, blah,
Blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah. But, like, she reads as bisexual to me personally.
Sure.
She reads as, Goth Queen Bicon, you
Yeah.
know, with her polyamorous boyfriend
Yeah.
who looks like a wet noodle. Yes. But yeah, back to the goth stuff.
Yeah.
Which also is the sad stuff. But like part of the reason why people love Mary and think of her as a goth queen is because, like I said, she really loved her mom, even though she never got to know her. And when they were first courting, since, you know, they didn't really want other people to know about it for various reasons.
Yeah.
They would meet up at Mary Wollstonecraft's grave, like
Cute.
at the cemetery.
Aw.
And that's like where they first...
That's goth as fuck.
Yeah, they had all their little secret liaisons at the cemetery, and they like
Cute.
confessed their love for each other. And the popular story is
Yeah.
that's where they like first made love.
Oh.
Just out in the cemetery
Oh my
on like her
gosh.
mother's grave or whatever, you know, like, so that's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but that's always like the story people tell.
Cute story.
But also then when they first run away together, like I said, this is after the Napoleonic Wars, and they actually travel through a lot of like war-torn France and stuff, which really leaves like a lasting impression on them both.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, Mary would have another miscarriage in 1822, and literally a month after that, Percy dies in a boating accident
Whoa.
with Edward that I mentioned before, Edward Williams. They were like boating together because this was
Oh.
when they were living with Edward and James Williams,
Oh.
Jane Williams.
They
So
both died in the same
they
accident?
both died on the boat together.
God.
Yeah, which
Oh
is what then, so then suddenly Mary and Jane were
Are
both,
both
widowed
widowed.
together.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and so Mary and Percy had been together for like 8 years at this point. Not married for all of that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, they were together for all of that. And Percy was only 29.
Whoa.
So she was like 24.
Yeah, she's
like-
just a kid.
Yeah, she still had a lot more life ahead of her.
Yeah. Did she ever remarry?
No, she had.
She was hanging out with Jane.
No, that didn't happen for super long.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, would have loved for that to
Yeah.
continue, but I don't think Jane was as keen on her as Mary was on Jane. But she did have other. There were like a few men. There's like one guy who proposed to her, and she was like, "I was married to a genius before, so to marry somebody who isn't a genius would just like be a real downgrade."
Yeah.
Like she basically said that, and I'm like, "Okay, girl."
Well, and she also, like, did she care that much about marriage?
No, there's
Yeah.
like maybe a suggestion that there's one guy that she maybe was interested in marrying, but he like married like 2 other people like successively, you know, and like maybe
He was marrying everybody
maybe she
but
was
her.
but it seemed like she was very reserved with her romantic relationships after Percy. Like there wasn't really anything. There were no other great love stories for her. It was really Percy. And going back to the goth shit, a bunch of, you know, Percy's friends, including Lord Byron, like cremated his body on the beach. But part of his body didn't all burn away, so they have what they said was his calcified heart. I don't know if that's been like confirmed because it's like what, why, how,
What?
Yeah, but anyway, like what if Percy's friends was trying to keep it too?
Yeah.
and like Mary and Jane had to be like, no,
No.
that
Yeah.
should be Mary's. It's
Yeah.
literally his heart.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And so like after Mary dies, you know, many years later, their son finds on her desk that she like kept that heart, if that is what it was, wrapped up in one of Percy's poems.
Oh.
It's like really goth and really sweet
Yeah.
and like kind of creepy and interesting, and it's so good. And of course, following Percy's death, another thing that's just like what makes Mary just like kind of a standout is that, well, she was a single mother and she had to make a living for herself. They like didn't really have money. Percy was actually constantly on the run from debtors. That's why they didn't spend time in England, really. And her dad didn't really have money, even though he was writing and stuff. He like had a bunch of debts too.
Yeah.
So like she was kind of supporting her dad and herself and her son on and off, you know?
Kind of sounds like they're making some money, but spending it so much faster than they're making it.
A little bit of that. And
yeah.
also they were making, a lot of them were making money as writers, which is like, in this in any economy,
Right, it kind of like
it comes and goes.
ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that Mary was able to actually make a living with her writing, more or less. You know, she was able to get by with her writing, which is incredible.
That is amazing.
And she is kind of notable for being like, it's hard to think of any women writers from like this period or earlier who were able to write while being a mother. Like that is its own responsibility.
Yeah.
That is especially put on, like there are tons of men who wrote while being fathers. That's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
women who wrote while also being caretakers of children and like households, like that, just having the time and space for that,
It's pretty amazing.
let alone having people respect that ambition. You know, once, like I said before, Percy was pretty, you know, cool for respecting Mary's writing and really getting it out there. And she also had other, like, you know, her dad and like other writer friends who were like helping support her. But like, it's still pretty incredible that she was able just to do that. And I forget which piece I was reading. I'll put it in the show notes. But some scholar of Mary was sort of, and of Frankenstein, was pointing out how like, because mostly men were the ones with like children who were writers.
Yes.
All of the previous things about like the birthing process was coming from this very male perspective.
Yeah.
That Mary's Frankenstein is one of those first stories we get that isn't just about like the birthing process, but also like the importance of what comes after birth. You know, and like
It's
the
a
raising
whole
of children.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to, my
Yes.
whole hang up on Hank in the first film is
Yeah.
like, you're doing the dad part.
Yeah.
Like you want to be able to create life, but like, and you know, to separate like God from life
Yeah.
and like women from the creation of life. But like
There's more
creating
to
life
it.
is only the first part.
Yeah, there's so much more that has to
Yeah.
come afterwards.
Yeah.
And I really like one thing that Mary wrote about herself at the time, like in her diary or a letter, I forget which, when she was like trying to figure out what she was going to do after Percy died. She wrote, "I think that I can maintain myself, and there's something inspiriting in that idea." And like she was right. She was able to support herself, and that is like inspiriting. It's inspiring that she was able to do all that. And just like to give her full flowers. Not only is Frankenstein considered like the first work that like can firmly be labeled like, okay, we're in sci-fi now. There was like some pre-sci-fi stuff, you know, of course, but like she did the thing.
Yeah.
She also wrote The Last Man, which some people argue is the first work of dystopian fiction or like apocalyptic fiction, whatever you want to call it. So like she's incredible. She was a respected writer at her time. She was able to see her novel Frankenstein adapted onto the stage in her lifetime. There were like 3 different printings of Frankenstein in her lifetime, you know, which, so like she kind of got to see herself do all that. And for some reason after she died, it's almost like she was a little bit, like she was respected at the time, but like afterwards she kind of went back to being like Percy's wife at worst, or like kind of a one-hit wonder at best. And it really wasn't until like the 1980s where her other work was republished so that people could really like read it and study it, you know? And like, so only recently, like within the last, since then, have literary scholars like started to actually study her and take her seriously again. And like now she is really considered one of the like most important and like most versatile writers of the Romantic period.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, all this like effort to like there are so many times in her life where she could have been made quiet, you know? And that just keeps not happening. She keeps finding her way to be heard again. And just, what an incredible woman.
Goth Queen.
Goth Queen.
Absolutely.
Bicon, possibly.
Yeah.
Incredible writer. Just love her. Just
Yeah.
love everything about her.
What a cool chick.
What a cool chick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just want to center her for a moment.
Exactly, because, you know, that it is unfortunately like part of being in the genres that it is often really male focused.
Yeah.
And we do see things from a male perspective, and I think this movie is a really good example
Yeah.
of that.
Even coming from a story that was written by a woman, that they made it into kind of a more male perspective.
Yeah, because it was only suggested.
Yes, yes.
It was just a suggestion.
She was just like, wouldn't it be wild if the creature also had a lady friend? And they were like, that would be wild. Let's put in a little evil gay guy first and see what happens.
Yeah. So I just was thinking about the Universal monster movies, because we've discussed, obviously we did Frankenstein last month, and we did Dracula a couple years ago, and those are actually the only monsters, the Universal monsters we've done so far.
What are the other big ones? Wolfman,
the Invisible Man.
Right.
There's also an Invisible Woman.
Oh.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, of course, Creature. I knew there was another big one.
Yeah. Mummy. Can't forget Mummy.
Oh yeah.
So
many other ones.
I was like thinking about it, because again, Sound Guy Matt and I were saying, like, this is like, Sound Guy Matt says this is one of his favorite horror sequels, just full stop. And and then I was saying off mic, like, I don't even think we need to qualify it with the word sequel.
Right,
I think it's just a really fucking good movie. Yeah. And
I know I'm very much on the wrong side of history with this. Just
it's
like with Alien.
I was gonna say it's like Alien. Yeah, but also here's the
which is very funny, because they have similar themes of like creation of life by getting rid of women and stuff.
Maybe that's your problem.
Maybe I have like hangups about that.
I think a perfectly fine thing to be uncomfortable with. Yeah, totally. Because that's the other thing, is that, like, before we watched Alien, like, you hadn't seen it. You saw it when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, I saw
Same thing with Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. Like, you'd never seen them before.
Yeah, no.
And so, like, I hadn't seen Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein until I was already an adult, but, like, I've seen it a few times, and same thing with Alien. I've seen it so many times that, like, I also think that there's something to say about familiarity.
Yes.
There just is,
Yeah.
Like,
and I am
like us in The Purge.
Yeah. And that is my
example.
role in this podcast, is to be the one who doesn't love horror as much. Like, I just don't. That's my role.
And that's okay. So anyway, I was like thinking about the Universal monster movies, and again, like, why is the bride so iconic? Like, she is an icon. Like, she's a drag queen. Let's get real,
Yeah.
And like, this movie,
Though even saying that, I feel like decenters women.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And like the misogyny of drag sometimes when it's not,
it can get that way.
Yeah.
If you're not careful. So I was thinking, I was like, what is up with the Universal monster movies? Like, why are they so iconic?
Yeah. Why are they who we think of when we think of monsters?
Right.
Like, they had such a lasting just on what these monsters look like.
So I decided to look into that, do a little history genre corner. And so something that at least I often forget to take into account when I'm watching older movies like this is I'm always taking into account the Hays Code, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm always forgetting about the studio system, because that's just not how movies are made now.
Yeah.
So this idea of like 5 major film studios, of which Universal is one, right? At the time, you get Warner Bros, you got Paramount, you got MGM, you got RKO, you got Fox, right? And so, the studio system of like movies being created in-house, directors working for a studio,
having these direct like relationships with the actors, where it's like on contract
to do X number of films for this studio, right? And then something else that I forget about, because when we watch these movies, when we watched Dracula, when we watched Frankenstein, all I'm thinking about is just like, oh, World War II's coming. Like, you guys don't even know.
You guys don't even
But
know.
Here's the thing, is that they actually kind of do,
right?
Because by the 30s, like, Hitler was already in power.
Yeah.
There was actually already starting to be this huge influx of immigration from Europe.
Yeah.
Because fascist and authoritarian governments are starting to rise to power. So the war hasn't hit the U.S. yet. No.
But it's there.
It's there. And so it is like part of this.
Yeah.
And
it's in the air.
So I'm always thinking, oh, World War II's coming. Watch out, y'all. But what I am constantly forgetting, and so I'm assuming some other people are too, that the 30s was the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah. That's a big influence behind like all of those, classic black and white films
exactly
that people know and love.
So
like the Great Depression had so much to do with,
it's worth noting,
kind of just the need for those films.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. So like the monsters, like the times that they're in influence the monsters, and the monsters influence the times.
As we're
right?
always saying.
Always.
We're always saying it.
So. But what's worth noting is that like by 1929, like technically the first Universal monster film is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is again not a full feature film. It's kind of a short, and that comes out in like 1917 or something. So it's early. And so
just sort of seeing what they can do.
What I have to remember is that movie infrastructure is not set in place yet.
Yeah.
So like literally the studios, like their infrastructure is not what it is like now. And also there aren't movie theaters.
Yeah.
Like what people are used to is like the theaters you would go to maybe watch like a silent film where somebody was like playing piano and like actors are doing the voices, or to go see like live performance.
Yeah.
But what studios are doing like throughout the 10s and the 20s, 1910s and 20s, is they are investing into like American theaters, like to get them sound systems, to like put in different screens to show, to move towards movies.
Yeah.
And so
whole experience.
by the end of the 20s, the studios had invested so much money into movie theaters. And then in 1929, the market crashes. And it is worth noting that the market crash of 1929 is not the only reason for the Great Depression. And it's honestly probably not even the biggest reason. To me, in my economic philosophy, both of those things are symptoms.
Right, yeah. But I would imagine it's the thing that, I mean, the symptoms are how you know that something is wrong.
Yeah, right.
So it's the thing that lets people know
that something's up.
That the Great Depression is,
I don't think that the market crash of 1929 caused the Great Depression. Whatever caused the Great Depression which was a million things. I have thoughts. Caused the market crash, and then what we know is the Great Depression. So all of these film studios are like barely hanging on. Like we almost lose the movie industry before it's even
really
born
started,
in a way. And so all of them have invested all this money that all of a sudden I saw like a stat that, in 1920 something there's like 90 million movie ticket sales a year, and then by like 1933, like really at the worst of the Great Depression, it's like 60 million a year. So they're really losing ticket sales, and so they need something to get butts in seats, and so
then the other thing is like, I mean, not to like bread and circuses, but like even when
bread and circuses,
even when the economy is bad, people will make room for entertainment because they need it's a human need.
Yeah. It's for coping.
Even though the sales are down, they're not gone.
It's not,
And it's not over.
And so obviously, kind of one of the big breakout is Dracula in 1930. Like Dracula was a huge success.
Yeah.
And so Universal is just like fantastic. Like
this is what the people need right now. They need a distraction. They
Yeah.
need something that will take them away from their own horrors.
Yeah.
And like give them a bit of catharsis about those horrors.
Exactly.
That's horror movies.
So after Dracula, they're like, oh yeah, baby, like let's pick this up. So they almost immediately buy the rights to Frankenstein, right? And which comes out the next year. And then we get The Mummy, we get The Invisible Man, and then in 1935, Bride of Frankenstein. And so the monsters, like really help hit on just the spirit of the times. Because as you were mentioning, economic downturns like bring up a lot of cultural anxieties to the forefront. Things that were just kind of like, things that weren't really impacting people's lives, but they still like had, they still thought. Now that like they're in such economic dire straits, like, their ideas of like, I am kind of scared of foreigners who speak with an accent, like can really be exploited, right? Which is what Dracula is.
Absolutely. Well, and it's what he was when he was first written.
What's really interesting is, he is like the fear of the immigrant, but he's also like, because him and Frankenstein are really interesting. Like they in a way both represent European immigrants, but Dracula is like the aristocrat that like the quote unquote, the immigrant you quote unquote want. Right. And
then he's a bloodsucker.
Yeah. And he's actually, so in a lot of ways, like Dracula could also be an allegory for the Depression. Like he's literally sucking your life force.
Well.
Yeah. Well. And then Frankenstein is also like, I mean, at least in the film, he's portrayed as like not really being able to speak.
Yeah.
And like very different, obviously different. And so he's kind of also representing the fear of immigration, which is at this point mainly coming from Europe. Again, like fear of the European immigrant.
I don't know anything about Karloff. What's his first name?
Boris Karloff.
I don't know anything about Boris Karloff or his history, but that is
it's a European name.
It's a very European name.
Sure is. Yeah.
Yep. Like Just seeing that on the
Yeah.
the posters or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and also
just like Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
Which was very
that's a European name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
so like even if that's not what their character like Frankenstein's creature like wasn't necessarily supposed to be except for he is because he's made in Switzerland, so he is not American.
yeah, right. So we get these monster movies they're a really great way to alleviate those anxieties. The same thing horror movies always do.
Yeah.
Like give us a safe way to express our anxieties and like resolve those
scared.
feelings. Yeah.
And don't think too much about the fact that a lot of our heroes are wealthy.
Right, yeah.
So we get to see these pictures of like wealth and luxury.
And so they help alleviate the anxieties like kind of in one way or another, like either by seeing the monster as like the cause of these problems.
You want somebody to blame.
And then being punished, subsequently punished, because the Frankenstein you know, the creature and the creature's bride both die at the end of this movie.
The bad
right?
are punished and the good live good lives.
Yeah. The heterosexual monogamists get to live forever. Yeah. So, or that like we see the monster as ourselves, as someone misunderstood who's just trying to make a living.
Right, yeah.
And is just not being allowed to do that.
The creature just wants a friend.
Yeah, right?
Why's everyone gotta be so mean to the creature?
So I already mentioned how like Dracula could kind of be seen as an allegory for the Depression itself, right?
Yeah.
And then of course like a European immigrant, but an aristocrat, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like the creature, Frankenstein, is like a little bit more like proletariat.
Oh yeah.
A little more working class.
Yeah, well, because he's
got boots.
Like we said, he's hulking.
He's hulking, he's got boots.
Yeah. I mean,
his clothes don't fit very well.
They don't necessarily say this in the movie, but it's a big deal in the novel when he's, you know, keeping an eye on this French family that like the hermit.
Where he picks up French. Yeah.
He's like helping them out by actually doing physical labor. He's like dropping chopped wood off at their house, you know, and like cleaning their.
Hey, who chopped the wood? Like I thought you did.
Yeah. Like he's fully a laborer.
Yeah, and not getting compensated at all.
Yeah.
So he's being he's you know, and obviously this creature is an outcast, right? He's being shunned, and he's being denied any form of social safety net.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, this is much more of the creature in the novel, but the sort of like wandering is very
itinerant.
Yeah.
Itinerant.
Like very, you know, as unemployment just like skyrockets, like there's a bunch of people, usually men, just kind of wandering around being like, you need a hand?
I can do stuff.
Yeah, I can work
for a nice hot meal.
Yeah.
Or a cold meal. I'll take whatever.
Yeah, for some food and maybe like a couple of cents or something, you know, something.
A nice barn to lay my head.
Yeah. And then, but then, because we get Dracula in 1930 and then Frankenstein in 1931. And then in 1932, we get The Mummy, also starring Boris Karloff. And so The Mummy comes out, and this actually is you know, a time period of a lot of Egyptomania.
That's what I was gonna say.
People are like interested in like what is up with Egypt. It
and
feels
stealing
like
all of their dead bodies.
And it is also like it's a little you know, exotifying.
Completely.
It's like, oh, this faraway place where their customs are
deep,
strange
and like such deep history that we get to go digging around in.
Yeah,
with
and
all
like
these treasures.
Yeah, it's very
riches.
foreign. We don't understand it. It's all new and mysterious.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, it's also showing a place that like audiences aren't able to go to.
Right.
American audiences in 1932 aren't going to Egypt.
Yeah. They're they're like hearing all these wonders about it. But.
Yeah. And then, so actually it's called The Mummy, but Karloff's character, he's got a couple of names, but the main name he goes by is Ardeth Bey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is the name of the guy in The Mummy. My favorite character, because he's so cute.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about Ardeth Bey's character is that he's basically, it's like a love story. He's like lost his bride and he wants her back. And so you can kind of see this character as like an unfulfilled man, like a guy in the Depression, just like, I'm trying to make stuff work and it's not working, you know?
I want to do that American dream thing of like having the wife and settling down.
Like I want more than what is available to me now. I'm feeling like disconnected, right?
Yeah.
He's also like the point of the mummy is that he is like literally disconnected from his past.
Yeah.
You know, so like everything he thought he knew was no longer true. Just like during the Depression, like we used to be able to make our living this way, and now that's no longer true.
Yeah.
Right. And then what's, I think the one that really hits the nail on the head as far as like the Depression allegory is the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he could be seen as representing the like tons of men that are out of work, right? But he's like literally invisible. Like he's not there. He's not being acknowledged, you know, like he feels, and also the Invisible Man, because Claude Rains, the actor who plays the Invisible Man's a dick.
Yeah.
Like he's like power hungry. He's very narcissistic. He thinks he's better than everybody.
Yeah.
But like you can see the like, this is a guy who just feels like he's not getting what he's due.
Yeah, he's being ignored.
That a lot of men, and I mean people in general, families.
I fucking know that feeling.
Yeah, in the Great Depression would have really known about.
Yeah.
So Invisible Man comes out, I think, in like 33 or 34. I can't remember. And then in 35, we get The Bride. And so this is our first female representation.
Woohoo! 3 whole minutes of lady time.
Of the economic anxieties and cultural unease women are feeling as a result of the Great Depression.
And you know what they're feeling is that they have to settle down with men they don't want to settle down with.
Right. Well, a couple of things are happening, right? Because we do need to remember that like women are barely starting to get civil rights. Like they've had the right to vote for less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Less than 5 years.
Yeah.
Not a generation, let's say.
Yeah.
Only a generation since women have, you know, gotten the right to vote.
Yeah, most women remember not being able to vote.
Yeah. But it is, again, like it is sort of this like upturning of the social order. Women are, of course, already very aware of like their economic reliance on men.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily stopping, right? But they're also like finding themselves, because like this is the thing, it's like women have always worked, right?
Yeah.
Like women, they've always labored, but they've usually labored like within the home, right? Keeping the farm going, you know, making sure.
This mostly excludes women of color because they actually were
actually working. Yeah. Well, and then that's what happens during the Great Depression is that like more white women like have to go join the workforce.
Yeah, because there's no other way to support their families.
And also, to me, if I may make this little like one last little deep thought that I have, is that the creature and the creature's mate, the bride, whatever, like are both sort of the consequences of men's reckless ambition, which is to me what caused the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Because it's actually worth noting, I wanted to say one last thing, is that before the Great Depression, there was no real understanding of macroeconomics.
Right.
Which I know we just talked about when we did the Purge.
So we all know the terminology.
We all know about macroeconomics.
We're all experts.
But no, like macroeconomics literally becomes a field of study.
Yeah.
Responding to the Great Depression.
Like how can we not let this happen again?
To me, there's just like probably, you know, like what is going on is a lot of people in positions of power, so usually men, are just kind of doing shit. You know, they have no maybe just like sheer ignorance or lack of, or just apathy towards the consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
Like what happens if you don't pay your workers, right?
Yeah.
Like what happens if you like decide like, you know what, I'm going to make all this money and I'm going to hold on to it and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, we're still coming out of the robber barons.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're still kind of dealing with the consequences, and like we, you know, again, didn't necessarily know that at the time, of like really reckless behavior, because people are amassing so much power and wealth that people hadn't really seen before, at least not there.
Yeah.
At least not, you know, in the US, right, within the history of what is now the United States. Yeah. We would have never seen that before. So like all of these consequences, you know, they get to fuck around and we all got to find out. That's it right there.
I mean, and then the other thing
I think that's true for the bride.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think like to add to that.
Yeah, add to it.
I'm also thinking about in terms of like women just recently getting history, that this is also coming shortly after the Roaring Twenties, obviously, and flappers.
Yeah.
And what flappers did for women, but also what the fear that flappers put into men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how afraid men were of flappers.
Of a woman who was free and enjoying herself.
And able to like speak
as an individual.
her own desires and like to follow her own desires.
And maybe like drive herself around.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What? Yeah.
Wear what she wants and like have short, cool hair.
Like drink.
And drink.
And smoke.
And
well,
so,
the smoking was probably fine. I mean, everybody's smoking.
Yeah.
Still.
No, but it was a big deal when they had to like go out of their way. There's this advertising guy who specifically got socialites. There was like this one socialite. I wish I remembered names. I didn't know I was going to talk about this.
That's okay. Yeah.
Look this all up. There was a socialite who was a bit of a feminist. And during one of like the rallies that was going on that she would have been at, and like the newspaper loved to write about her, they were like, as part of this like march for feminism, let's have all of these cool flapper ladies smoking to show that they like don't give a fuck about your gender conventions.
Ooh.
Isn't that so fucking cool? Says this advertising man who wants to make money.
Absolutely.
But it was this cool symbol, and everyone was like, "Oh damn, yeah." So like, if you want to be a cool, rebellious, awesome flapper lady, then you smoked. Like that is actually a connection.
What? So before that, were women just not supposed to smoke?
Yeah, it would have been uncouth. Obviously.
Really, but men were allowed to smoke.
Yeah.
So because
like I mean. You especially think of cigarettes coming from like other types of smoking, like cigars and stuff,
or like
which are
snuff
still
or something,
masculinized,
very
to
masculine.
This day.
Yeah.
So you know, cigarettes are kind of more in that vein.
Yeah. Anyway,
so I just have to think that maybe that's also like the gender dynamics going on even before the Great Depression, or this thing of like, women coming into this place of power and how scary that is, and how this film gives us a woman who is refusing to do what the men tell her to do.
Yeah. The men got to fuck around and she got to find out.
Yeah. And we are going to allay our audience's fears of women who have power by being like, no, don't worry, she dies in the end.
Don't worry, she's in this movie for 3 minutes.
And then she super dies.
Yes.
So
because the creature decides it
that
for
she
her.
should die.
So don't worry, you still have the power you thought you were afraid of losing. Don't worry, you totally still have it.
Don't worry about the women or the immigrants. We got this. They'll all kill themselves because they know they're bad and wrong.
Wow. What a cheery note.
Yeah. So this has been Deep Thought Show.
Wait, do you want to play archetypes or no?
Oh my God, yes.
Let's not leave it there.
Oh God.
So right. We were kind of mentioning already at the beginning how, the creature does kind of function a little bit like a psycho killer.
Yeah,
a little, like a slasher, even though this isn't a slasher.
Yeah.
And it's just been
I did read something about how they wanted the original body count to be like 20 something people.
Nice.
And that was part of their censoring, was that they cut it down to like
that's too
10
much.
people. They would cut the count in half.
So it's just been a long time just because we haven't really done a slasher in a while. But we just haven't.
Honestly, some movies with enough characters.
With enough characters.
Significant
that's
characters.
True. Yeah. So we're just going to play a good old-fashioned archetypes.
Yeah.
So we've got, which is great because we have about 5 characters. Yeah. We've got Hank Frank.
Yeah.
We have Elizabeth Frank. We have Dr. Pretorius. And we have the creature. And we have the bride.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Let's actually... Do you want to give a rundown of our... Because it's been a while since we played it.
Okay.
Do you want to explain it? Do you want me to explain it?
I can do it real quick.
You do it, yeah.
Okay. So this obviously is all based on Cabin in the Woods, our first episode ever. Yeah. We got our 5 archetypes of a slasher film as presented in that movie. We've got the whore. She dies first. Always. She's got to be scandalous lady type.
Mm-hmm. And she has to be punished.
We've got the usually kind of more male archetypes, which are the athlete, who in my mind mostly faces the most like physical harm. The scholar, the smarty pants, and the fool, who also tends to imbibe in things. Yeah. But also there is wisdom from the fool. Mm-hmm. And our final girl type character, the virgin, who doesn't have to survive at the end, but often does.
She can, as fate decides.
Yes, but she'll normally have the final showdown.
So, and this is honestly perfect because, yes, the archetypes are pretty gendered.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the scholar, the fool, or the athlete have to be dudes, but it does kind of feel like the whore and the virgin have to be ladies.
Yeah, though we've, of course, problematized that in our time. I don't know how you say that word.
I think you did great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you were talking about. And so this is perfect because we have 5 characters and 2 of them happen to be ladies.
Though, yeah. And it's troubling to say Elizabeth is our virgin final girl, but also she is pure good womanhood.
She is, yeah. Okay. So then that leaves the bride as the whore, which I think we've kind of already
I mean, she's
been
punished.
established.
Yeah. I mean, she does the most whorish thing possible, which is reject a man who wants her.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more of a whore.
Yeah.
As far as most men seem to view it.
Right. And she does die.
And she does die.
However, in at least the way that this is set up in Cabin in the Woods, but of course, like, you do see these archetypes show up in horror movies, and it's not always hard and fast. You know, there's some kind of playing
that's the whole point of
with the
Cabin in the
expectation.
Woods, is that they're sort of riffing on it.
So yeah, usually the idea is that the whore dies first,
and
she's
dies
corrupted. She needs to be punished
first, in that they all die together. And so she is of the first.
She is of the first. Yeah, right. That's true. So, the bride does die. She doesn't die until the end of the film, 3 minutes after she's introduced. Yeah. But she's definitely the whore.
Yeah.
Right?
Because she's a woman who can't be controlled.
So,
that's what it is.
Okay. Then that leaves us with the creature and Hank and Dr. Pretorius.
And I think the only option for the athletes is the creature.
Again, because of the level of physical.
Yeah, he's the only one who is a physical presence.
Yeah.
And also suffers physically.
The most.
And does harm physically the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be the athlete.
He's got to be the athlete. Well, because Hank and Dr. Pretorius are both scholarly. They're both
scientists.
Learned men. Yeah.
Natural philosophers.
I mean, to me, I think Hank's the fool.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because he's so... There's something about the fool archetype that's like the most doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
You know? But just like the person who you're the most confused about, like, why aren't you just leaving?
Yeah.
You'd like, just go.
Yeah.
You know? But like, fate is making it so that they have to be involved in this very much, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, they're always like the extra guy. Like, maybe the other 4 will be in like couples, and then there's also
and
this
then there's
extra
the
guy.
fool.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
the fifth wheel, the fool.
You know,
yeah.
which isn't the case here, but there's like always something that makes you kind of be like, you didn't need to be in this.
Yeah.
You seem like a chill little guy.
Yeah.
You seem so cool, but no.
Well, and that makes me think, because I guess then, like, Elizabeth needs to be the virgin because she is, even though she's really not much in this movie.
Because she's a little sexualized. But did they ever get a chance to consummate their marriage?
I don't know. But this is the other thing I kind of noticed, especially since we just watched Scream.
Yeah.
Right? I notice a relationship between the final girl and the fool. We see it in Cabin in the Woods. We see it in Scream.
Yeah.
With Sydney and Randy. They kind of have a little thing, you
Yeah.
know? And so that, to me, makes sense in this movie, that Hank and Elizabeth would...
I do think of them as dual characters for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, the athlete and the whore tend to be paired together.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, there is something in the virgin and the fool.
Yeah. And then so that leaves Dr. Pretorius to be the scholar, which tracks.
Yeah.
And he can, you know, like
It's nice to get an evil villain scholar.
Yeah, and again, it kind of goes back. I think he gets to be our mad scientist this time, much more than Hank.
And I always like when one of our archetypes gets to also be the main villain. You know?
Yes.
That's always one of my favorite
things. Right, yeah.
We've had a few archetype games where that's been a thing, kind of.
That's true, where the killer is
involved in it.
involved, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good for this one.
That's true. That's a really good point.
And having, evil scholar.
Yeah.
I love the evil version of all the archetypes, I guess, and just what I mean.
Absolutely. And then that makes me think about, you know, what I mentioned, what we discussed last episode about, you know, just sort of a distrust of science.
Yeah.
And people who study it, you know, just be like, what are you doing though?
Yeah. I mean, it's right there in what, like, this film has an interesting relationship with science where they try to have, like, Henry as, like, the good version of science, even though he did this bad thing, but he's, like, reformed or something. Yeah. And that he's specific calling what Dr. Pretorius does black magic to distinguish it from science.
Yes.
Because it's like, science can be good. We like reason and science.
Right.
We love our new technologies.
Like, you could do science to do anything. You can create...
They're trying to have it both ways, kind of.
Technological and medical breakthroughs, and you can use it for eugenics.
Yeah. And I do think this film is definitely falling more on the science is scary side. But
Science is scary.
they try to make it balanced.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really come out that way.
No, science is scary. It's okay.
Yeah. We all know.
We all know. This has been Deep Thought Shallow Plots.
There we go.
Yeah.
Join us next time for Hot Possession Summer.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yes. No. I was already sorry. It's nope. You're right. You're so right. Yes. So we have a theme coming up this summer,
as we always do,
possession movies, and we decided to be. I feel like we're being a little cheeky.
We're being cheeky with the possessions. I don't want them to all be demons.
No,
especially since I don't really like demon movies.
No,
they scare me.
Yeah, so we're gonna kick off Hot Possession Summer with A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Freddy's Revenge. Which is great because it's also Gay Month.
Yeah, so it's going to be our Pride episode. It's going to kick off Hot Possession Summer. It's another sequel.
Yes.
We are on fire. I think this is our 4th sequel
ever
this year.
Oh, this year.
Because we did Scream 2. Wait, was that this year or last year? That was last year.
I think that one was
What is
last
time?
Year. God,
The Purge.
But we did do The Purge.
Anarchy. Bride of Frankenstein, technically.
Now we're going to do Freddy.
Yeah. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Deep Thought Shallow Plots.
You can also get us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thanks as always to Sound Guy Matt
for making sure we don't clip.
Well, we do anyway, but it's on us. It's our fault.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Actually, this actually does lead into my quote, I promise. There's one other thing I wanted to say, which is, who are you? Oh, you were talking about...
You're trying to put episode stuff in our outro?
I kind of am.
Oh my God.
So I want to make one more reference to James Whale.
Okay, yeah.
James Whale, he actually also died by suicide.
Oh, poor thing.
I know. When he was a bit older, he had a career in film. He also had a long Broadway.
Yeah.
I promise this is getting to the quote. A long Broadway career.
What yearish?
We're talking mid-century here, and he's an older man at that point. And if you go on his Wikipedia page is lengthy, and his suicide note is on there.
Damn,
it's intense. And it sounds like something was going on medically, and he was in a significant amount of pain, and I think also incredibly depressed and probably addicted to something. So it's a bummer that's
cool. Thanks. I'm glad you're ending our episode.
But hold on, I'm getting there. Just let me tie it in, know, because you had mentioned that someone was like, oh, they died by suicide, and I was like, oh my God, like James Whale.
Yeah.
But he did write a book. A biography.
And noticeably, the thing that I didn't actually say when I was saying that, but what I meant to say is that this film ends with murder-suicide. Frankenstein kills himself.
Yeah.
I mean, the monster, the creature kills himself.
Takes himself out. Yeah.
Yeah.
He decides that's
Which
best.
is also how the novel ends. The creature just goes off to kill himself.
Yeah. Meanders the Arctic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But James Whale writes a biography, and it is called Gods and Monsters.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure to get that little James Whale bit back in there. And this is all to say.
The vibes of this episode are all over the place.
I love it. I love this for us. This is all to say, until next time, to a new world of gods and monsters.